All right. Good evening, everyone. I am Sadeek Colquitt. I am the founder and executive director of the Plant Based Afrikan Center for Nutrition. We are based out of Chicago, but we serve really the globe thanks to the internet. And I want to thank America's Heroes Group for inviting me and having me on the broadcast this evening. And it's just a pleasure to be here. Was here a couple months ago and was asked to come back, and I just want everybody to know how grateful, humbled, and thankful I am for the opportunity. So, want to jump in this evening. I believe last time I was here, we had a bit of a heart-to-heart conversation about diabetes. And this evening, I'd like to focus a little bit on um, heart disease. Before I do that, though, just a little bit about what we have going on at the Center for Nutrition in January and for the next 4 months: January, February, March, April, and May. We will be hosting challenges for people to give the plant based diet a shot. And what that looks like is just making a decision that you want to give it a try for 30, 31 days. If you try with us in February, it's 28 days. We just go by the days of the month, but the average is about 30 days to give it a shot. And you can contact us. I'll say it here in the beginning of the broadcast and at the end. You can contact us at PBA Center for Nutrition, all one word, PBA Center for Nutrition.org. One more time, that's PBA Center for Nutrition, one word.org. So, right now, we're in the middle of our January jump off, where we host people who are looking to, again, give the plant based diet a try for at least 30 days. So we look to have fun, inspire people, and then just take accountability for what we are putting into our mouths for those 30 days. So we've got the time seems to go fast. So one to spend a little time talking about heart disease, which is the number one killer, the number one source of how things are, people are disabled in America and across the globe. There are over 750,000 people who succumb to heart disease in some form or fashion in the United States. So, whether that be a stroke, a heart attack, an aneurysm, um, there's just some of the things that we digest that wreak havoc in the body. And I want to talk a little bit about that. And the beginnings of heart disease really start with excess saturated fats and cholesterol. Cholesterol is really something, excess cholesterol, that can wreak havoc in the body and really cause a buildup in our circulatory system, in our arteries. And those fat, waxy substances become what we call plaques. And then those plaques begin to uh, coat the linings of our arteries. They're actually called endothelial cells, and that's the first cell line that is affected by the buildup of this fat, waxy substance, then building into plaques, and then building into heavier um, plaques, which eventually can break off. And if the top of the plaque buildup breaks off and it floats uh, upstream and finds a smaller place to lodge, then it begins to obstruct or occlude your blood flow. And at that very moment, you are deemed to be having a heart attack. And if that happens to the heart, that's the attack. And then if it happens somewhere leading up to your brain, you are said to be having a stroke. And so that affects hundreds of thousands of people every year, and thousands of people every day, every minute of the day. And so it's really a very powerful event because it can rob families of joy. It can cause the holiday season to come to an abrupt end. And it can also really cause pain in people's lives beyond the pain of the person having the heart attack. It can affect husbands, wives, children, grandchildren. And so, what we want to do, or what our aim to do at the Plant Based African Center for Nutrition, is one to just give you the information and the data so that we can begin to make a choice that we never really knew that we had. And I know that um, diets are usually positioned as a matter of choice. And so, what we've worked to do over the years at the Plant Based African Center for Nutrition is really extrapolate the data and bring it to you in a way that you can understand, it makes sense, and to give you another level of choice, to give you another level of power over your own life, and to empower you um, in your level of understanding, and then how you can apply that so that we can take lifestyle diseases such as high blood pressure, such as heart disease, such as diabetes, type 2, and we'll get into type 1 maybe at a later broadcast, and even some forms of cancer, and really see that we can eliminate them when we really have a discussion about what the body needs biologically. So we've been working publicly the last 2 years to explain to audiences what food is. And I'm coming back full circle to heart disease. And I said this on, I believe, my first opportunity here. We talked a bit about the definition of food. So I'd like to uh, define food, and then you can really understand a little bit more about even the beginnings of heart disease and cholesterol. So, food biologically um, is defined by five fundamental elements. Okay. Food is defined by five fundamental elements. And those five fundamental elements are healthy fats and carbohydrates, vitamins and minerals, fiber, protein, and water content. So, again, those five elements are healthy fats and carbohydrates. Number two, vitamins and mineral. Number three, fiber. Number four, protein. And number five, water. Those five things meet the biological threshold for your body to consider it food. Um, but we really define, or we characterize a lot of things as food that are not food, or that your body does not consider to be food. Okay. So, for instance, based on this definition, a chicken breast would not be food. Well, why is that, Brother Sadiq? Why is a chicken breast not food? And that's because it does not contain any fiber, which you have to have. And then it also contains things that you don't need, like cholesterol. So not only does it not have fiber, and we could walk you through a series of exercises on how important fiber is. So, for instance, if you're listening live or on a recording, if you take a moment and you Google the percentage of America that is fiber deficient, if you punch that into your phone, into Google right now, you will come up with 95 to 97%. And so today, as of January 8th, 2025, 95% of the American population, 325 million people, are fiber deficient. And then the next thing I would ask you to look up are the diseases that stem from fiber deficiency. So if you whipped out your phone, you've already got the number of Americans that are fiber deficient. It's nearly everybody. It's 95% of 325,000 people. Now, if you look at the diseases that stem from fiber deficiency, you're going to see, well, it depends on where you come up, but you'll see a list of at least 10. And sometimes the list goes all the way down to 18 or 20, but you'll find diabetes, you'll find heart disease, you'll find many forms of cancer, you'll find autoimmune diseases. Like the list will go on and on and on. It can even affect your arthritis. Um, and the reason is because animals do not contain fiber. And America is on an animal centric diet, meaning the average span of meals over the day for someone can look like eggs and cheese for breakfast, no fiber, so the body technically does not consider that food. A chicken sandwich for lunch, no fiber, the body does not consider that food. And if you have ground beef or steak tacos for dinner, again, you are back to no fiber in the main part of your meal. And so, that being the case, that's why 95 to 97% of America is fiber deficient. And that's why that's also the floor for disease. But not only, if you take that same meal cycle, and here's where heart disease begins to form. Not only are you fiberless or extremely short on your fiber intake, you're adding cholesterol to your biological makeup, and your system does not know what to do with excess cholesterol. So, here's a fact that most people don't know that we work to share. Your liver makes all of the cholesterol you will ever need for your entire lifetime, meaning your body is perfectly 100% calibrated with the amount of cholesterol you need to build tissue, to work inside your body, your organs, right? Your body knows how much cholesterol you need because we're all unique individuals. Some of us are 6'5". If you're like me, you're 6 feet tall. Some people are 4'11". We have different weights. We have different metabolism rates, but your body in itself is an intelligent piece of biomachinery, and you are perfectly calibrated from birth with the amount of cholesterol that you need. So if you never consumed anything that had cholesterol, you already make it and you already have the perfect amount. So then, Brother Sadiq, how how do we get extra cholesterol, which starts to again coat the inner lining of our arteries and provide us with the floor of heart disease, eventually developing into plaques, collecting other fats, saturated fats and oils, and moving into the area of plaque, which again can rupture and then cause a heart attack. And the way we get that excess cholesterol is by consuming animals whose bodies also make cholesterol. So there's cholesterol if you take that meal cycle we talked about. If you have eggs and cheese for breakfast, not only do they have no fiber, but they all have excess cholesterol, the egg and the cheese. And so now that cholesterol is there. You have the chicken sandwich, it contains cholesterol, no fiber. And so now you've just upped your cholesterol content. And if you come back in the evening and you have the ground beef or the steak tacos, again, no fiber, but extra cholesterol. So now many of us find ourselves, and I know I found myself at the age of 29 in the doctor's office. And the doctor was telling me, said, Mr. Colquitt, you have high cholesterol and high blood pressure. I'm just going to prescribe this medication for you. Now, you may have to take it the rest of your life, but um, this is how I'm going to help you battle this. And at the age of 29, the rest of my life sounded like an awfully long time. And I just taking, meds wasn't something that I wanted to do, which led me on this quest to just really understand a little bit more about my personal biology and how diet could have a positive effect on my health. And to this day, I've never had a pharmaceutical med. I did not take those medications, but I began to research uh, at that time the vegan diet, the plant-based diet. There are many names, and I began to change my lifestyle. My blood pressure returned to the level it was when I was 18. Um, Last month was my 54th birthday. I have been disease free. I am listed. My doctor has me down as a disease free individual. I have all my numbers are normal, my cholesterol, my A1C scores, my PSA. As a matter of fact, my PSA is below one. I'm just sharing this with you so that you know that not only is this what I and we at the Center for Nutrition do for a living, but I'm actually my first student, and I'm actually my first client. So it's been very powerful for me. And as someone whose family, aunts, uncles, mom, and dad succumbed to heart disease, my mom had a major heart attack that took her out of here. My dad had an 85% blockage in the main artery leading to his heart. After years, they were very hard workers, very proud. And I love my mom and dad, but fried chicken, steak, seafood, all of these things eventually led to their biological demise. And so the excess cholesterol that we find in the animal products are not friendly to our bodies and to our biological makeup. That's why when we get down to the data of it, and we took time, it took years, really decades, for me and our staff to dig in to over 100 years of research to help define what food is according to the body and how we can live a disease-free life in the Western world and really across the planet. And it comes down to simple subtraction and addition, taking away the things that we don't need, that are not favorable to how the body functions, and then adding the things that are favorable to the body. So, that being said, heart disease is something that a change in diet can take your chances of having a heart attack and a stroke, can minimize it by up to 80 or 90%. Because if you're not loading the body with cholesterol, then you're not building those plaques. They don't break off, and then they don't clog the arteries that are leading to your heart, to your brain, and other extremities in the body. And now there are even studies that show, right? Because we want to talk about the data, there are studies that show that dementia and Alzheimer's, which plague a lot of our elder community, and it's also starting to plague people in their mid 50s and early 60s, is also dietary, right? Because these plaques, these fats, they build up and then they stop the oxygen flow to the brain, and your brain has to have um, at least 20% of all of the oxygen you take in. The brain is an amazing organ, and it's a part of this intelligent uh, biosystem that you have. We like to call it the bioecosystem, and the brain needs at least 20% of the oxygen. And so if you reduce that oxygen flow, because the blood carries the oxygen to the brain, if you reduce that, then the brain cannot function properly. And so Alzheimer's and dementia are showing up more and more, not as a function of age, but it's showing up as a function of diet over time. And so those are the heart to heart discussions that we really have to begin to have with our community. Diet over time, not the fact that you're getting older. The body does not break down simply because we grow another number every 12 months. The body breaks down because of what we are doing to it. So we are active participants in our biodemise. And I want us to really be able to have those conversations. So again, cholesterol is not an item that we need to constantly be adding to our makeup. And that's why those five things that I talked about, those healthy fats, right? Those vitamins and minerals, the fiber, the protein, and the water, those are the essential makeup. That is the essential makeup of food. And so your body will take those 5 items. Those things are found in collard greens, kale greens, mustard and turnip greens. It's found in black eyed peas, right? We just got through with the new year. It's found in corn. It's found in okra. It's found in really plant life, but also in the fungus world, right? With mushrooms. So the definition of food lives beyond um, a category or a lifestyle choice, because even if you are call yourself vegan or you call yourself plant-based and you are consuming processed foods and cookies and cakes and those things that um, really keep the body from its most efficient functioning, you can still succumb to, um, heart disease or a diabetic condition, although at a slower rate than somebody that is consuming animals. So the idea is to flood our diets with food as defined. And I'll say this as we get ready to move toward a close. I know we've got about 4 minutes left, but you know, food and when I'm sharing with audiences, I let them know that food as defined, there are things that food cannot do because it's not biologically equipped to do it, right? And so when we're talking about food, again, we're talking about those collard greens, we're talking about mustards and turnips, we're talking about black eyed peas, we're talking about okra, we're talking about cantaloupe, watermelon, we're talking about strawberries, grapes, right? Um, Food will not cause a heart attack. It's not biologically possible. Food will not cause obesity. Food won't give us diabetes. Food is not capable of accelerating your cancer. Food, right, as defined, will not cause your body to have high cholesterol. And that's because there's no cholesterol in biological food, there's no cholesterol in any plant. You could go down the list across the monk fruit, jackfruit, pomegranate, oranges, apples, bananas. Again, we go through cabbage, carrots, onions, zucchini. We could just, of millions of what we call plant food across the world, and there's zero cholesterol, zero. And so it's also a part of the intelligent engineering of this wonderful world that we live in. And so we are really proud at the Plant Based African Center for Nutrition of our staff, the work we've done over the years. I mean, this year alone, we've helped African American young men from their 40s through their mid 50s work their way back from the threshold of prostate cancer, reducing PSA scores, working people back from A1C scores that were 10, 11, 12, and higher to 6 and below, um, taking cholesterol levels that were in the 230s, 240s, 250s, and bringing them down into the 180s and the 170s, right? Taking people off of the precipice of having to have surgery. This is the work that we do on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis. So, that being said, know I've only got about 2 minutes left. Want to say join us if you can for the January jump off. I know we're at January 8th, but it's okay. You can get more than 3 weeks in with us, but we also have February, we have March, and we're going to be basically working through the first 2 quarters of 2025 to introduce people to the plant-based diet. And I want to let you know if you want to come see us in person at no charge. We'll be on the south side of Chicago at 2035 East 79th Street. That's the Colony All Nations Pentecostal Church. where we will be presenting our signature seminar experience. It's called Foodish, where we define food and we talk in detail about what we went over this evening. We talk in detail about heart disease. We talk about diabetes. We talk about certain forms of cancer, like prostate cancer and breast cancer, which affect African American men and women very heavily. So, again, I want to say thank you to the America's Hero Group for having us on. I want to say thank you to the audience, those of you that are listening and have been with us this evening. You can reach us at the PBA Center for Nutrition.org. Again, that's PBA Center for Nutrition.org. I am Sadeek Colquitt, the founder and executive director, and we'd love to have you join us. Look us up and at least come have a conversation with us. You can lead a disease-free life at any age. My dad was 82 when he started. So we love you. We appreciate you. Have a great evening. And thanks again for having us on the program.